All right, module six discussion. So what it's wanting, we're talking about health in this, and so the first question is citing the text in your own personal experience. Discuss what it means to be healthy in your culture, and in the culture we're learning about. So we're learning about Native American culture, specifically the church. Yeah, hold on. Sorry about that. I'm not prepared as I should be. But health. So in my culture, what it means to be healthy to me is to be obviously, physically healthy. I think it applies to most cultures because you have to be physically healthy. Active. Not using any no none of that vaping and stuff. I mean, it's just setting yourself up for the future so you can be healthy in the future as well. Um, because I mean, I think here, like it says, health disparity. I'm not really the difference between who has access to healthcare services and who does not. As the son of a social worker, I know that there are a lot of people out here where I live in my area who do not have access to healthcare. Um, but at the same time, there's a lot of people who do, more so than there is not. And she just works with a specific group of people who do not have access to that, and that's not. I mean, it's while it's still quite a few people, it's compared to the overall population, it's not that much. So where we live, we do have access to health care, whether it's free or whatnot. Um, there's always ways around it. And if you need help, you're gonna get it. The thing is, though, it's like going back to health in our in my culture. Um, Being healthy is being well. You don't have to be. You just have to have a healthy lifestyle. Not always eating junk food. I mean, not smoking. I personally, a lot of people do it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't consider that to be healthy. Um, and it's just kind of things like that. And health in Native American culture, I mean, in any of these cultures, I'm sure it's the same. Um, while I feel like a lot of their jobs were more labor intensive, like they don't get to go and sit in an air conditioned office and work all day. I mean, you have people going out hunting, taking care of the children, doing all that stuff. It's just a lot more. I mean, I'm thinking about when I think about Native Americans, my mind always goes back to what I learned in school, like 200 years ago, what it was like for the Native Americans, and that's kind of what I go to, and the kind of lifestyle that they led. They weren't as advanced as the Europeans and stuff. They didn't have, their shelters weren't the same. It's just, so I think that health would be considered, just you're physically fit. I mean, they obviously don't have the technology that we do, or now they do, and we live very close to many Native American cultures, and they oftentimes have a lot more access to free healthcare and a lot more benefits than like I do, for example, just because of the programs that they have set up for these Native Americans, which is great for them. Yeah. So, all right, moving on to the role of tourism in our culture. So, tourism, where I live, I kind of live on the outskirts of Spokane. I live in 9 Mile. And out here, we don't get a lot of tourists. We have exchange students, which I would consider a form of tourism. They come here and they study abroad, just like as in the text said, which is where you come and learn stuff from a different country. And being in an exchange program is a great way to do that. I totally recommend any one of you guys to do it if you have the opportunity to, and go and visit other countries and stuff. It's awesome. And the exchange students that come over here, I'm great friends with a ton of them, and it exposes me to other cultures as well. And one thing that I think is really cool is that these guys come in and they're traditionally from wealthier families, because they have to pay for it. And I mean, I feel like there's a lot of they're very, very respectful. very cool, and you get to see how I've had two exchange students. I've had one Mexican exchange student and one Chinese exchange student. Unfortunately, the Chinese exchange student, he just was not a right fit for our family. We didn't get along. um, I'm sure he was a good kid, but it just didn't work out with our lifestyle and stuff. There's a lot behind it. But with our Mexican exchange student, he was 3 years older than I was. It was actually when I was in fifth grade, so only like, like 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and we were best friends. The nicest kid I've ever met. He helped out around the house. I mean, it was like he was like a brother to me. We obviously mess around and stuff and have some conflict and everything, but he was a great kid, and I love that kid to death. And I feel for tourism, like the thing when I go back to Native Americans, when I think of tourism, I think of, well, tourists they got a couple hundred years ago were us, and we came in and took all their friggin' land from them. Now I gotta say I mean, we all live in the same place. I don't know if many people would come to visit come to visit the U.S. just to learn about Native American culture. But there's the Spokane house out where I live, and it's very like there used to be a trading post there, and I've gone there and it's very cool, and it's ran by Native Americans, and it's not something you get to see every day, especially what it was like back then, and it's very, very interesting. And if you ever get the chance to go and take a look at it, I highly recommend it. It's awesome. And for the last question, oh yeah, okay, so hold on, sorry, I'm gonna read this out loud. Our text identifies tourism, health, healthcare, and law enforcement as contexts in which intercultural communication occurs within cultures. What are some other cultural contexts you believe might be worthy exploring? Okay, so I guess so. I did say tourism. I kind of put the exchange program down for this one. This might not be the best answer because it was kind of it is tourism. Um, but I mean, there's tons of things you can do. Like it just for example, I'm going into the Air Force. Probably this time next year is the plan. And you have people from all over the country, congregating into one spot for basic training and stuff like that. And it's gonna, talking to my recruiter, they're like, you are gonna meet people from all over the world. It's different cultures. People act differently. People think differently, much differently than I do, which there's nothing wrong with. And it's a great way for me to go, and I mean, Air Force is a team. We're gonna have to learn to work together, communicate properly, and this is gonna benefit me in so many ways because I get to meet people that I don't get to meet here living in Spokane, and I feel like it's the I don't know. I don't think it'd be a form of. I mean, the author explaining this and the culture I mean, anyone, the Native American do this if you're an American citizen. I mean, it's just going into a completely different environment. I mean, it's switching from one that they've been exposed to one that's completely new, and it's a great opportunity to learn new things and work with different people, and I highly recommend it. And I think the author would explain this as just like, an occupation. You go in and you meet new people, and this specific occupation just takes me to a different part of the country and pairs me with people from all over the country, rather than working at a fast food restaurant where people live relatively close to you, and just to drive away. I have to fly to Texas for this, so hopefully it goes well. But yeah, that's what comes to mind when I think about different contexts of intercultural communication. So yeah, thanks you guys.